number 3, and what we're picking up with them, DIY AV, and what is DIY AV doing to Pro AV? Neil.
Oh, crikey.
This is your playground.
It is, yes, quite. I guess people used to kind of.
I'm very much over DIY. Is that there is a reason that certain things go together, and there's a certain reason that we don't hubble stuff together. Mm-hmm. And I curse out my Google 90% of my day, in that it is not professional. It's a great product. There's nothing wrong with the DIY products that we use. But they are just unreliable.
I think you've got a multitude of different management platforms as well, because you're going to have one from this vendor, one from that vendor, and trying to, this hodgepodge of stuff around there, supporting it. When one goes wrong, you're going to have it's not our problem, it's their problem. It's not, and that whole kind of, blame them, maybe.
Why has the industry gone full cycle from an install like this with tables and everything across the table was the biggest no-no ever to it's now okay?
But is that not our fault?
Yeah.
And that's my biggest spin on this
It's
one.
not okay for me anymore. I don't like wireless.
DIY AV.
Get wireless.
DIY AV has only become a thing because AV, for me as an industry, has been too blind and sometimes too lazy to do anything about it. It's now gospel.
Is that part of our industry going, despite us still thinking it's there for us?
AV, there was this mystery, wasn't it? Like they're trying to keep it as a dark art dark art of AV because that's where the profit line.
Margin and mystery, mate.
Exactly,
Margin and mystery.
Exactly that. Keep it like that. You're the smartest guy in the room and baffle them with technology, but it is getting simpler and it is easier to do. So that's where the squeeze on the margin is coming in and allowing somebody to go in and plug it in themselves, or get a group of people that you don't need a degree to go and set up a simple room system nowadays. Whereas
right,
March 2020 should have told us everything we needed to know.
Well, some were ready, some were not. Is that what you meant?
No. What happened in March 2020?
Yeah.
We went out on COVID.
Yeah.
How fast did DIY come into play?
Oh, yeah.
Instantly.
And I'm going to go back for me personally, because y'all know I love to stir the pot. I've been preaching for years that integrators needed to look at smaller fish, but everybody wants that $1 million facility. They want the C-suite conference rooms. They want the 200-seat lecture halls.
I'm sick of that conversation.
How hard would it have been in 2018, 2019 to put everything we're looking at right now, a good headset, a little Hudley, the basic plop-ins?
Interoperability. DIY AV has, some people can say it ruined Pro AV, but I think it's ruined the people in Pro AV. Because now you have the people that weren't able to adapt or evolve out of that Pro AV mindset. I'm a programmer, I program. Well, program this cable into this slot and walk away. It's like, it's like, sorry, you're obsolete. I'm sorry. It's like and not everything, because there still is custom solutions that are very much needed.
You see a lot of stuff on the internet, like everyone carries their Logitech. I'm a Logitech expert. Really?
Oh yeah. Well,
it's like
you're hitting a sore spot for me right now.
do you mean like the claim of being an expert about it? Like,
Yeah.
It's just
So I need to be an expert on USB. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's bollocks, right?
Yeah.
Certified by who? By him. Well, who?
Right.
Is there
right.
No, he got this bad.
And he didn't.
Coming back to IT, you'll understand, Jason. I know you've been doing this forever. You'll understand. IT is taking that over. Okay, if IT takes over the small conference room, if IT takes over the small classroom, what is left for AV? In my little county, right, the whole county, the whole business area is maybe 80,000 people. We've got one IT company and one AV company. Guess who does 90% of the installs for the schools? At ATI, the AV company. It's all IT.
It's forced a lot of partners who fancy themselves and may be a custom house, right? Like the work that we do is this kind of work, and it looks like this, and it's complex, and it's control systems, and it's programming, and it's automation, and it's like, word, yep, every one of us here is right. I get it, and you can. But now those guys who didn't want to adapt and shift and put in bundles and kits and stuff like that, because those manufacturers went right to the users and said, we'll sell it ourselves.
Yeah.
Now they have to work with it, and a lot of them are figuring out this isn't so bad either.
No.
We can figure out how to make this all coexist.
That's
right?
why it happened to begin with.
It's forced a good shift in systems integration that I'm all for.
But I think on our side, it's about the customer experience, right? So if we can make it easier to install, if we can reduce the amount of time, maybe not the complexity, because things, Kev, do get a little complicated sometimes. If we can reduce the amount of time it takes to install a solution, that makes the end client super happy because that's a cost on their side. So, and I do think it's sort of inevitable, right? It is. Because everything's just getting flatter, lighter, faster. It's not like we're turning some nuclear code on or something. Can you turn a nuclear code on? I don't know whether you can.
Yeah.
We can now, yeah, of course we can.
Okay.
You said it. It's
Right.
happening.
It's happening right now.
Do you know what? That's a brilliant take. What's it doing to AV? What we've allowed it to happen?
Right.
That's what it's doing. We've let it happen because we're always stuck in that box. And I am sick of that conversation where, like we said, we've got this small group on Twitter. Obviously, we'll sit there and think it's a whole world of AV tweets.
we're
But
not.
it's tiny in comparison. But even within that melting pot that is what it is of however many thousand people,
Right.
how quick because it's something close to my heart and winding me up. Dude, where are you? Get in!